Hey everyone. So sorry about the attire, but it's been a long day, and what can I say? And nice spot on my lip, which doesn't hurt at all. Not at all. Anyway, I did a nutrition video and that went down quite well. Obviously people have differences of opinions. That's fine. That's what makes the world go round. That's great. So today we're going to talk about exercise and training, specifically for women and specifically for the lower body. And before I go into it, I'm going to give you a backstory. Some of you may know, some of you don't, that before I became a makeup artist, I studied with nutrition and exercise, and that was my passion. And it probably, if it wasn't for a case of acne in my very early 20s, I probably never would have gone into makeup. And I studied nutrition and exercise. Around about the age of 16, I started to do aerobics, and I started to teach aerobics, and I absolutely loved aerobics. Now let me state that at the time my body was quite lean. It didn't have very much muscle mass on it because I didn't do any weight training, but it did have, it was quite lean. And a byproduct of doing so much aerobics, step aerobics, anything like that, was that my leg muscles, they got bigger. If you've ever seen women who do step aerobics a lot, especially the instructors, their thighs tend to be quite thick set. I'm not talking fat, I'm talking muscle-wise, quite big legs. And it looked odd in comparison to my upper body, which was pretty, skinny at the time. I was sort of only 16, 17 years old. And just looked a bit odd. So what I decided to do was exercise my lower body. And I started to do weight training on it, and I didn't use really heavy weights, and I did around about 10, 12 repetitions, and I just did lower body exercise. What I did do though was I did these exercises, but I didn't just do them once a week. I did them 6 days a week, and I just worked my lower body, and this was on top of the aerobics that I was doing. And the strangest thing happened, that my thighs just went whoosh, they just shrank. And it didn't really cotton on to me at the time. I was just pleased that I was in proportion. But I got to thinking, as I was working in the gym, I would see women there and they would be doing all these exercises, and I'd be looking at their programs, but the programs were so generic that they were basically 70% of the work was for the upper body. Biceps, triceps, chest, back, shoulders. And it just seemed really misbalanced, because it's very rare that you'll see a woman come into the gym and she'll go, I want really nice arms, I want big biceps. They're always like, I want a smaller arse, I want leaner thighs, I want, it's always to do with the lower body, almost always. And that intrigued me, and I remembered that I had been doing this training and it had shrunk my lower body. So I thought, okay, we can do something with this. And lo and behold, it worked. I got them training their lower bodies really frequently. Even when they weren't in the gym, I would make sure that they were doing squats and lunges and anything like that, and their thighs and their lower body just shrank. And when you look at bodybuilders, the way they train, they lift a very heavy weight and then they rest, and sometimes they rest 2 days, sometimes they rest 7 days, and that's giving the muscle time to repair itself and rebuild. But we don't want that. We want to use a lower weight so that you can exercise frequently, very frequently, your lower body, so that you don't overtrain and that you're not allowing the muscle time to recuperate, and therefore you want it to shrink. That's why bodybuilders don't train their biceps every day, because they get smaller. If you overtrain a muscle group, it shrinks. So this is what happened, and it became pretty successful. So successful that when I was 19, Health and Fitness magazine published an article on me and my training program, and here it is. And then they published another article, and then another one, and one more, and they published a lot of articles on it because it worked. It was different at the time, because I was going against the grain of what people were saying, which is you need to do weight training, women need to do weight training, but they need to do weight training correctly. Let's forget the upper body. We still want to work it, but we want to concentrate on your problem areas. And the article came out, it was very good. I was very pleased with it. I was pretty successful with it, and it just drummed in a lot of business for me, which was brilliant at the time. So let's talk about it. The way to shrink a lower body is to overtrain it, not in a negative way where you're getting injuries, but think about how gymnasts and ballerinas, dancers, they train their bodies every day. They work their bodies, their lower bodies, and you don't see them with these huge thighs or anything like that. They're very lean and they're overusing the muscle, and it just basically doesn't allow it to rebuild. It doesn't allow it to get bigger. It sort of shrinks it down, and that's what women want. That's what most women want, is a smaller lower body. So what I favour is that you work your body as frequently as possible. Now, I need to make this point very clear, that if you're not used to exercise and you suddenly jump into a 6-day-a-week exercise program, all that's going to happen is you're going to get your muscles are going to get really, really sore, and it's not going to be pretty. If you haven't exercised and you're thinking of doing this, you need to build up really, really slowly. If you're already an exerciser and you're working out numerous times a week, then fine, go for it. You want to work your lower body, you want to work your problem areas. You want to do exercises like squats, lunges, hamstring curls, anything that works your lower body. You don't want to use a really heavy weight, but you want to aim for about 12 repetitions. 12 to 15 is fine. 2-3 sets on each muscle group. Just really, really work them. Then forget about it. Then the next day, work them again. Keep working them and they will shrink. This is what happens. And it surprises me that this information isn't out there. It still isn't out there. When the article came out, and a few years later, I got a call, or I was still working with Catherine Lee, who wrote the article, and we were going to write a book about this. Fortunately, the book didn't take off because I wasn't very popular. Nobody knew who I was. It was no celebrity name, and it never happened, which is sad because I would have liked to have seen this information in gyms more, so that women wouldn't be getting these generic programs where they're working their upper body so much. You know, you still want to have nice arms, but you really want a small bum. So that's the basis of it. You're overtraining, you're training your muscles 5-6 days a week, your lower body, and just watch what happens. It just shrinks. Like I said, you must make sure that you're used to exercise. Doing this otherwise can cause a hell of a lot of soreness, and it's not fun, it's not pretty, so ease yourself into it. I found when I was doing it, working with people, there's a case study here, and there was also a lady with the case studies in this one who used it. I worked with a lady called Melanie Jones, who was my friend at the time, and she's lovely, and I miss her because I don't have her number anymore. And when I was working with Melanie, her program was very generic, very the same as everyone else's. We changed it around, and I'll read you it quickly and you can make what you want of it. So Melanie Jones lost 4.5 stone with Weight Watchers, but wanted to go a little bit further. She went to the gym for 10 months, but improvements reached a plateau. I was ready to give up because I wasn't getting anywhere, and I was maintaining what I had lost, but no further gains. After 4 weeks of training with Wayne Goss, that's me, she'd lost 9.5 inches and only half an inch from her upper body. It does work, but you've got to be prepared to put the effort in, and this is a near everyday training system. Obviously now I can see the difference. My legs are much, much leaner, and I've lost these 9.5 inches, which is just amazing. A gym workout tends to give you more of a whole upper body program, whereas Wayne focused on the areas that were the issue for me. Now, Melanie was training with me every day. Most of the time you can expect to lose. I saw losses of between 2 and 6 inches in terms of size when working with this principle within a 6-week period. Melanie, I worked that bugger really hard, but I knew her, she's fun, she's lovely, miss her. Anyway, this is just a principle. Have a look, Google some things about lower body training, high intensity lower body training to shrink the lower body. There is stuff on the internet now about it, and I'm telling you, and hopefully this will go out to a lot of people. Any questions and queries, put your comments and I will really do my best to get to them. Hope you found this interesting, and thanks for watching, and I'm much happier being a makeup artist than I ever was a trainer. So see you next time. Bye.